This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of August 4th, 2025. All that talk you've been hearing from me and other people about the importance of self-care and finding your own refuge, your own place of nurturing and solace, and retreating to it as needed, that is going to come in really, really handy if you follow it this week. This week is brought to you by the planet Mars, the guy who makes things happen, the guy who gets things done. His activity this week is putting our drive, our motivation, our actions through the same process of reshaping and refining that our desires and relationships went through in the changeover from the end of July to the beginning of August. Mars is changing signs at the first of the week. He is moving from nitpicky, careful, painstaking, fix-it Virgo to Libra, relationship central, the sign of negotiating and compromise and harmony and beautiful, graceful artistry, particularly in words, and, paradoxically, social justice. And this puts him under the command of Venus, who's just been through this herself. So even though the focus is on the masculine drive is expressing itself through what is normally considered to be the feminine, meaning that this is not me first territory. This is grappling with how we coexist with each other. As Mars makes this changeover, he very quickly interacts with all of the outermost planets, which are collaborating in fire and air to stoke incredible passion and creativity and leadership and innovation and complete and utter change. The change part erupts within days of his entering Libra on the 8th. Mars makes a trine, a direct current with quick change artist Uranus. Blasts of information and epiphanies flow effortlessly into new ways of going about things, of renegotiating our agreements with people, of taking action to advocate for social justice, to create art, to respond to whatever we are witnessing, being hit with, thinking about differently. Awareness of limitations and delays and obstacles and problems are in the mix, and so is unrealistic thinking or an awareness of gaslighting or feeling like you can't quite tackle what's out there, because on the 8th and on the 9th, Mars is opposing Saturn and Neptune in Aries. There could be another really big burst of moral outrage as a result of this combo. Likely you will surprise yourself with how you are speaking up for something that maybe you let slide before. And there's a challenge to be direct about it when Mars in Libra likes to hint, to imply, to soft pedal, to kind of maneuver the other side to join Mars's position. If you haven't seen my short video on the astrology of moral outrage, it's on my Professional Aquarian YouTube channel, and it's in the Astrology on the Ground playlist. A contributing factor fueling our actions and conflicts and motivations this week is Mercury retrograde, is all of the information and the awareness and the revelations that we have encountered since he stationed retrograde on July 18. We're in the last full week of the retrograde, and Mercury has now chugged to the degree of his direct station, which occurs on the 11th. And his apparent lack of motion creates a sensation of being suspended in time, which is paradoxical given all of the activity that Mars is triggering all week long. The atmosphere may be a bit like all of the crazy things flying through the sky as Dorothy's farmhouse is hurtling through the cyclone in The Wizard of Oz. It could also remind you of Alice encountering all kinds of random objects as she tumbles down the rabbit hole. Except that whatever is flying around you, whatever is floating past you, isn't random. It's information that you are now in a position to use and to act on. All your Mercury retrograde experiences, all your discoveries and do-overs and redos and releases and recognitions, all of those give you ballast. All of those give you, oddly, a grounding cord as we go through this week because of the relationship it has with the grand trine of air energy that is forming in the sky, going from Uranus in Gemini to Mars in Libra to Pluto in Aquarius. We're processing information, we're speaking up, we're acting on information, we are doing things in new and unconventional and probably unprecedented ways as this flies and flies and flies through the air, through our minds, through the media, through social media, through our friend groups, through our communities. The information flow is going to be wacky and chaotic, and we aren't going to just sit and look at it and go, what now? Each of us in our own way will be motivated to do something. Probably a lot of somethings. Maybe some things that you have never dared to do before or that never occurred to you that you might do before. This configuration, all these possibilities, characterize the Aquarius full moon, which is on the 9th, bringing to a head a whole lot of issues and emotions and dramas involving our friend groups, the collective, technology, social media, power structures, the dichotomy of top-down power versus collective power, which is where the trend is heading. You might take to the streets. You might be telling people off. You might be sitting down with people and saying, it's not working anymore. What can we do about this? You might be creating art like you never have before. I wouldn't be surprised if screenplays just burst forth from people this week, or novels, or poems, or music as radical and striking now as Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changing was in the 60s. And we are motivated to go deep, to address the monsters that have been lurking under the bed or in the closet or in the shadows, to deal with the stuff that we don't like to deal with in public, to deal with secrets and unpleasantries that we normally keep out of the public eye. And we do this with focused action, surgical precision. A Libra friend with a Scorpio moon once told me it's better to do surgery with a scalpel than a butter knife, and by the weekend, we all have scalpels. Something's gotta change. Something is changing, and each one of us is as much the instrument of change as we are a target of it. Do not lose sight of the fact that Mars, warrior planet as he may be, is under the command of Venus now. The feminine is playing a huge role in driving everything that is happening right now. And she is heading for one of the loveliest days of the year next week, when she will meet her counterpart in indulgence, Jupiter, both in the sign of Cancer. Retreat to your safe place as often as you can. Shore yourself up there. Remind yourself why you do what you do. Homing thought of the week: a little goes a long way. Song of the week: Chicago, We Can Change the World by Graham Nash. And the image of the week is a pinball machine. You'll learn more about this in my forecast for the month of August, which is up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. You can also get my talk on Saturn and Neptune in Aries throughout history. My Aquarius full moon forecast will be up by the beginning of the week. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 35 years experience. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on On Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. And my guest this week is Carmen Turner-Schott, author of Your Astrological Energy. I also host conversation on Facebook on the page Empowerment Unlimited and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at K.A. Biehl, and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.